Well, the general election is coming up, folks. November 5th is barreling at us like a freight train. And if you are pro-gun, if you're pro-Second Amendment, if you're pro-family, pro-life, pro-closed borders, pro not having your vote get watered down by criminal aliens, if you're pro-conservative America and you're in favor of keeping this beautiful nation that our founding fathers died for, you're going to want to watch this video, folks. I am Chris Dorr. I am the director for Pennsylvania Firearms Association. And in this video, I'm going to talk about your House District 3 right there in Erie County. It is one of the most important House of Representatives races of this entire election cycle for the very reason that whichever party wins, the Republicans or the Democrats, whichever party wins this is very likely going to be the party that is in charge of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Right now, the Democrats control it. This is one of the top targets for the Republicans to flip it. The Democrats are trying to get the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion so they can ensure that only the Democrat agenda is the one that is followed going forward. And for gun owners, that's a big red flag. So I'm going to talk about these two candidates in just a second. I'm going to talk about Micah Goring. He's the Republican nominee who is running up against the Democrat, Ryan Bizzarro. But we're going to talk about Micah Goring and his positions on guns. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about Ryan Bizzarro because he is the incumbent Democrat in this election. He's got votes that we can actually look at, and that's why we're going to jump into him first. First and foremost, I got to switch my pen color here to red so that you guys can follow along. And right out of the gate, is he pro-Second Amendment? Folks, I can answer that for you conclusively with a red X because Ryan Bizzarro, as a Democrat incumbent, has votes that show very clearly that he's not. So let's jump into the first one, red flag gun confiscation. Let me explain what this is really quickly. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Red flag gun confiscation is the destruction of due process rights for gun owners. It simply says that somebody can petition a court to have your guns taken away from you without you ever being charged, tried, or convicted of a crime. And at the hearing that you're not even allowed to be at, they can present as evidence the fact that you recently acquired a firearm. Literally, Ryan Bizzarro voted for this so that simply exercising your right is justification for the court to take that right away from you. Ryan Bizzarro voted for that as a state representative. He voted for universal gun registration. The Democrats are open about this now. They want gun confiscation. Joe Biden says it. Kamala Harris says it. Beto O'Rourke used to say it back when the Democrats used to hold conventions or debates for the grassroots to weigh in on picking their Democrat nominee. Now they just depose sitting presidents and install their people. But they want gun confiscation, okay? And the cornerstone that is built on is gun registration. They need to know who owns what guns. Ryan Bizzarro voted for universal gun registration as a state representative. It bans the private sale of firearms between two free citizens, and it gives the government, the state, the power to track, trace, and register gun owners, just like they're a bunch of sex offenders. Ryan Bizzarro voted for that right there. He gets a big old X for that. Right, this bill did not make it to the floor yet, but he also supports a total ban on AR-15s. In fact, he goes a lot worse than that. Ryan Bizzarro supports a ban on semi-automatic firearms. He wants to ban Ruger 1022s, Marlin Model 60s, Remington 1187 shotguns. He wants a total ban on semi-automatic firearms. That's what Ryan Bizzarro wants. So we say absolutely not to that. The Second Amendment, the whole purpose of it isn't so you can go out and hunt deer, although we like to do that. The whole purpose is so that the people have the ability to be a check and balance on tyrannical government. We don't have to look back very far in world history to see what it looks like when governments disarm their people and then become genocidal. In the 20th century alone, a minimum of 45 million people were murdered by their governments. We'll keep our firearms. Thank you, Ryan. He also supports mandatory gun lockups. They like to talk about these in the terms of safe storage laws, but Kamala Harris was just outed a couple of days ago when she was caught on camera as a district attorney in San Francisco. She said that safe storage laws are all about codifying the ability for state actors to invade the sanctity of your home and make sure that you are storing your firearms in a way that they deem fit. It's absolutely preposterous. It's a total violation of your right to be secure in your persons from unreasonable searches and seizures. But that's what Ryan Bizzarro supports. He wants to pass that right here in Pennsylvania. Quite frankly, government gun inspections are preposterous, especially when you consider the fact that these are the same people we're talking about who left billions of dollars worth of real weapons of war on the streets of Afghanistan, and also were caught under the Obama years selling drugs to the selling guns to the Mexican drug cartels under Operation Fast and Furious. So being responsible with guns is not the government's forte recently, especially not underneath the radical left. So that's Ryan Bizzarro. I'm going to give him a great big fat F for his performance at defending freedom in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. He's got a huge voting history. There's one thing about being on paper. It's something else entirely to go on record with votes like Ryan Bizzarro did. And he voted against freedom every single time. And it's just preposterous. Let's talk about Ryan Goring here for just a second, because he is the Republican challenger here. And of course, as a candidate, we don't have a lot to go on other than public statements and no voting records. So we have seen a lot of stuff on his campaign pages and in his statements about how he's opposed to these kinds of things. You know, that's really cool. We want to see that kind of a thing. In fact, I saw here, let me read this. He said, "I also believe in the right to self-defense for everyone, especially women, and strongly support the Second Amendment." Folks, that's the kind of stuff we like to see out of somebody like Micah Goring, who is going up against a committed, hardcore, radical leftist in Ryan Bizzarro. So he's pro-Second Amendment. He's not made any attempts to hide it. A lot of times, if you're a rhino or a Republican in name only, you don't talk about these things. Micah Goring has been very open and vocal about the fact that he supports the Second Amendment and is opposed to the rest of these gun control agenda items that Ryan Bizzarro is in favor of. So, couple of things. So let's give Micah Goring here an AQ. You know, so that's about as high as you can get as a non-incumbent without a voting record. But couple of things. If you see Micah Goring out there on the campaign trail, thank him for not backing away from the Second Amendment. Thank him for his public statements in support of the Second Amendment. That's great news if you're a gun owner and you live in House District 3 in Erie County. That is valuable information. If you see Ryan Bizzarro on the campaign trail, tell him that tyranny that he votes for, he's in the wrong country, let alone the wrong state. That stuff does not go in House District 3 in Erie County. This stuff might go in the 1940s Germany or Japan or Italy or maybe Europe or England right now. They might welcome this kind of stuff, but no, this is America. This is Pennsylvania. This is the birthplace of freedom, and that kind of crap just doesn't go around here. So I guess the last thing I would ask you folks to do, if you live in House District 3, please share this video with all of your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, your co-workers, your fellow church members, anybody in your life from the district who is pro-gun. If you got people in your life that are anti-gun, just don't share this with them, maybe. I don't know. I don't have anybody like that in my life, but you know, some people might still have that. But please share this video with everybody you know who supports the Second Amendment. Folks, there is so much riding on this election, and we need to turn out the gun vote as big and as strong as possible, because if these people like Ryan Bizzarro get their way, I am afraid to think about what America can look like 15 years from now, 2 years from now, let alone 15. So these people want to disarm you, and any time in human history when governments have wanted their people totally disarmed, it has not ended well for the people if they were allowed to be disarmed. So if you see Ryan out there on the campaign trail, tell him to apologize. And tell him to go do that stuff in England if he likes that stuff so much. But please share this video with everybody that you know. And then on November 5th, grab everybody, round them up, and head to the polls and vote pro-gun.